Welcome to Wikipedia for sleep. Find comfort now. Let your body soften, your breath deepen. Tonight, we'll gently drift into the world of the Pebet bird. Close your eyes when you're ready and simply rest. Pebet bird. Pebet is a bird species mentioned in Malay mythology and folklore of Kanglepak, present-day Manipur. It was believed to be a small-sized bird, smaller than a sparrow. It was believed to be almost extinct. Meeting with a cat once, a mother Pebet, Mayday, had many children newly hatched from her eggs. At the same time, a cat came to her. The cat secretly wished to eat her children. He claimed himself as being a monk cat, Mayday, How Dong Lamboiba. He asked her if he was good-looking. Mother Pebet knew his secret intentions. She also knew that he was not actually handsome. She also knew that she and her chicks might be in trouble if she told him the truth. So she told him that he was as beautiful as a red flower of the bamboo plants. The cat got satisfied and happy. He went away. He frequently visited her to ask the same question. Every time, Mother Pebet compared him to beautiful objects of nature. And the cat gave the same good reaction. Many times passed, the Pebet children grew up. So, Mother Pebet taught her children how to fly. Once her children learned how to fly, she had less worry about the safety of her children from the bad cat. So, when the cat came and asked her the same question as usual, she told him the truth. She told him that he was ugly. She compared the cat's ugly face with the bottom of a black pot. She even scolded him for asking such a question. The cat was surprised to see Mother Pebet's sudden change in her behavior. At the same time, he was very angry. So, he decided to eat Mother Pebet and her children. At that moment, Mother Pebet told her children to fly. So all her children flew. Unluckily, the youngest Pebet child was caught by the cat. Mother Pebet decided to save her child using her wisdom. So she told the cat that there was a good way to eat Pebet birds. She told him that the Pebet should be washed nicely and then be put on a leaf, usually banana leaf, for sun bathing. The foolish cat believed Mother Pebet's words. So he did the same. Once the young Pebet was properly sun-bathed and her feathers got dried, Mother Pebet told her to fly. Having more strength after sun-bathing, the young Pebet flew away quickly. The cat tried to catch her, but he failed. Coincidentally, the flying young Pebet pooped in the hands of the cat. The cat ate the poop without thinking twice. He thought that if the poop was so delicious, then the real Pebet itself would be more delicious. Mother Pebet and her children successfully escaped from the bad cat and lived happily ever after. Meeting with an elephant, once there was a Mother Pebet, Mayday, and her children. A group of elephants used to pass by near their nest. Pebet children were very scared of the big elephants. They asked their mother to tell them not to come near their nest. Mother Pebet requested each elephant in the herd to be careful while coming near their nest. Each elephant agreed to her request except one. The exceptional elephant was so proud of his big and strong body. He laughed at the Mother Pebet's words. He even destroyed her nest and her children. Mother Pebet decided to take revenge. She worshipped Goddess Lamerl for a long time. After some time, the mother goddess appeared and told her some advices. According to it, Mother Pebet pricked the back of the proud elephant using her beak. She did it again and again until the elephant bled. Once it started bleeding, Mother Pebet invited a group of flies to drink the blood and even lay their eggs there. The flies did so. Due to this, the elephant's body was badly injured. Its health got worsened day by day. Finally, the proud elephant apologized to the Mother Pebet for its past misbehavior. Mother Pebet forgave him and helped him to recover, giving healing herbs. In another version of the story, the elephant died due to the infection. Meeting with a tiger. Once there was a Pebet Mayday family. There was a Pebet couple and their children. A tiger used to pass near their house very frequently. Lady Pebet was frightened by the presence of the tiger. She felt unsafe for her children. Her husband told her a plan to scare the tiger away. So the next time when the tiger passed by, Mother Pebet pinched her children to cry loudly. Husband Pebet loudly told his wife to keep the crying children quiet. She answered to him that the children were asking her to give tiger meats at that odd time. She said that she had given them some dried tiger meats, but her children were demanding fresh tiger meats. The Pebet couple were talking loudly to make the tiger hear them. Hearing those words, the tiger thought that those Pebets were not normal Pebets. Thus, he ran away and never came back. Meeting with a vulture. Once a Pebet Mayday, and a vulture had a disagreement about who would be the next king of the birds. Vulture claimed he was the strongest and thus he deserved to be the king. Pebet claimed that he was wiser than him and thus he deserved to be the king. Pebet called the vulture as a fool. The vulture got angry. He tried to kill the Pebet. He chased the Pebet. The Pebet flew among the shanai bamboo plants to save himself. As he had a small body, he fitted to be among the bamboo plants. The vulture forgot his own size. So, in anger, he flew among the bamboo plants towards the Pebet. He hid himself to the bamboo plants and died. Following the vulture's death, Pebet became the king. In popular culture, a classic Mayday drama named Pebet Mayday was directed by Hisnam Canhalo. The story of the play was based on that of the Pebet birds facing threat from a monk cat. In the particular play, the folktale was compared to the Hinduization and Sanskritization, domination of traditional Mayday culture by Hindu culture in Manipur. It was performed in different international theatrical shows. It was first shown in the year 1976. It was shown in the Prithvi Theatre Festival in 2006. It was also shown in the International Theatre Conference 2015 of the International Federation for Theatre and Department of Theatre Arts, University of Hyderabad. In 2017, the same play was performed in the theatre workshop of the Banga Bhavan Silchar, organized by the Babhikal, Silchar, and the Sanjeet Natak Academy, Delhi. In 2017, the same play was performed on the second day of the 19th Bharat Rang Mahotsav in India. Hisnam Canhalo portrayed his wife Sabitri Hisnam as the mother Pebet in the play. And now a new story begins. Christopher Landon, filmmaker. Christopher Landon, filmmaker. Christopher Bo Landon is an American filmmaker, best known for working in the horror and comedy horror genres. He has worked as a screenwriter on the thriller Disturbia, and most of the films in the Paranormal Activity found footage horror series. He wrote and directed Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, as well as the horror comedy films Happy Death Day, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Happy Death Day to You, Freaky, and We Have a Ghost. He wrote and made his directorial debut on the satirical thriller film Burning Palms. Early life, Landon was born in Los Angeles and is the son of actor Michael Landon and Lynn No. His paternal grandfather was Jewish, whereas his paternal grandmother was Catholic, although his father was raised Jewish. He is the youngest of their 4 children. His parents divorced in 1980 when he was 4 years old. He resided with his father until the age of 16, when his father died of pancreatic cancer. 2 of his brothers, Mark and Michael Landon Jr., have been actors, as have his sister, Leslie Landon, and one of his half-sisters, Jennifer Landon. Career: Landon, following his father Michael Landon's footsteps in filmmaking, studied screenwriting at Loyola Marymount University, but dropped out 3 years into the course to pursue a career when film director Larry Clark offered him a writing job after reading one of his scripts. He went on to co-write the script of Another Day in Paradise with Eddie Little and Stephen Chin. After writing Another Day in Paradise, he came out as gay, aware that homophobia may have harmed his potential in the industry. I may fall off some list because of my sexuality. But if that happens, then I really don't want to be on that list anyway, he said, speaking of homophobia in Hollywood and the film industry. I was the flavor of the month, and then I was quickly dismissed. I reached a point in my career when I couldn't get a meeting anywhere. He moved from Los Angeles to Austin, Texas, contemplating the future of his career, which he revived only a few years later. Many of Landon's films deal with gay themes and issues, including $30, one of 5 components in Boy's Life 3, a collection of short films dealing with issues faced by young gays, and a spec script about the relationship between a straight man and a gay man. More recently, he has written the screenplays of the 2007 films Blood and Chocolate, The Flock, and the acclaimed Disturbia. Disturbia was one of his spec scripts, which was brought to Montecito Pictures and subsequently DreamWorks Pictures, and went on to become #1 in cinemas upon its release. He next worked on The Lesson, a film for DreamWorks, and the 2007 television series Dirty Sexy Money, his first television project, eager to expand his repertoire. He has worked on a screenplay for a film adaptation of Lisa McMahon's young adult novel Wake. Landon made his directorial debut with Burning Palms, an ensemble comedic thriller that was poorly received. Landon became a creative voice behind the Paranormal Activity film series, writing Paranormal Activity 2, Paranormal Activity 3, Paranormal Activity 4, and Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin. Landon also directed and wrote the franchise spin-off, Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones, which was released in 2014. Landon's next film was Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. He then wrote viral Happy Death Day, Happy Death Day to You, and Freaky, the latter 3 of which he directed. In August 2023, Landon was announced to direct Scream 7, the seventh installment in the Scream franchise. Landon announced on December 23, 2023, that he was no longer associated with the sequel, saying, "I guess now is as good a time as any to announce I formally exited Scream 7 weeks ago. It was a dream job that turned into a nightmare. And my heart did break for everyone involved. Everyone. But it's time to move on." Personal life: Landon came out as gay in 1999, having only written the script of Another Day in Paradise, unafraid of his sexuality harming his career potential. He says that growing up he was called a faggot by peers at his high school. His mother, a Christian, refused to accept his sexuality. His stepmother, Cindy Clerico, his father's next wife, told him that both she and his father suspected he was gay. Landon has a partner, Cody Morris. The couple have 2 children together. Let your mind wander now to Reginald Barrett. Reginald Barrett. Reginald Barrett was a judge of appeal, an acting judge of appeal of the Supreme Court of New South Wales. He had been a corporate and securities lawyer and a partner in Mallison Stephen Jacks, general counsel for Westpac, and 20-year partner with Allen and Hemsley. Early life and education: Reginald Ian Barrett was born on 1 April 1944 in Sydney, New South Wales, the son of Ronald Arthur Barrett and Leila Jean Nefru, who had married in 1941. He completed his secondary education, leaving certificate, at Newcastle Boys High School and matriculated to the University of Sydney. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in 1964 and a Bachelor of Laws in 1967. He returned to Sydney Law School for further studies and was graduated as a Master of Laws with first-class honors in 1971. He served as a counselor of Wesley College at the University of Sydney between 1970 and 1977, where he had been elected senior student in his penultimate undergraduate year. Career: Barrett was admitted as a solicitor in New South Wales on 17 March 1967. He was an articled clerk with Allen and Hemsley, a year behind William Gummow, later Puisne Justice of the High Court of Australia, and a year ahead of John Lehane, later a federal court judge. On admission, he became an employed solicitor and made partner in 1971. From 1987 to 1989, he was their resident partner in London. Barrett was appointed as a part-time member of the Companies and Securities Law Review Committee between 1983 and 1987. In 1991, Barrett left Allen's to become Group Secretary and General Counsel for Westpac, which had been one of his clients at Allen's. From 1991, he was a part-time member of the Commonwealth Companies and Securities Advisory Committee and convener of its legal committee. In May 1995, Barrett became a partner at Mallison Stephen Jacks, where he practiced, until his commission as a judge of the Supreme Court of New South Wales in 2001. In 1997, He was appointed deputy chairman of the Australian Securities Exchange Appeal Tribunal, and then chairman in January 1998. As a corporate and securities law specialist, he was involved in several important and complex Australian corporate cases. The 1995 Westpac Challenge Bank merger, the NRMA insurance demutualization, Comalco's takeover of Rio Tinto, and the Australian Stock Exchange demutualization and self-listing, which was a world first. Barrett has been noted for his commitment to legal education. From 1973 to 1974, and from 1976 to 1987, when he left Australia to work in London, he was a part-time lecturer at the Sydney Law School of the University of Sydney. He was also a consultant to the Legal Workshop, Australian National University, from 1973 to 1977. He chaired the Legal Qualifications Committee of the New South Wales Legal Practitioners Admission Board, which he had joined in 2002. Barrett has been a member of the editorial board of the Company and Securities Law Journal since it began publication in 1982. He was the general editor of Robson's Annotated Corporations Legislation from 2010 to 2019 and is a member of the Advisory Board of Practical Law Australia and an assistant editor of the New South Wales Law Reports. Barrett was sworn in as a Justice of the Supreme Court of New South Wales on 19 March 2001. In 2012, he was commissioned as a judge on the New South Wales Court of Appeal. Barrett retired from both positions, with effect from 20 April 2015. On 10 June 2019, he was appointed an officer in the General Division of the Order of Australia for distinguished service to the law and to the judiciary, particularly in the area of corporations law and legislation. Personal life: on 1 August 1970, he married Susan, the daughter of Mervyn G. and Dorothy M. Campbell. They have 2 sons. He has sung with the Sydney Philharmonia Choir, including at the opening ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games. Let your mind wander now to Schellas Hyndman. Schellas Hyndman. Schellas Hyndman is a retired soccer coach. He was previously head coach of FC Dallas in Major League Soccer. Despite having a limited career as a professional athlete, Hyndman is one of the most successful college soccer coaches in American sports history, compiling a 466-122-49 record as the head coach at Southern Methodist University. He was the 1981 NSCA Coach of the Year. Playing career. Youth and college: Hyndman was born in Macau. He was born to a Russian-French mother and a Portuguese father, but after the Communist Revolution in China, his family fled the country in the cargo hold of a ship in 1957. They moved to Springfield, Ohio, before settling in Vandalia, Ohio, where he attended Butler High School. Following high school, he entered Eastern Illinois University on a soccer scholarship. He was part of the 1969 NAIA National Men's Soccer Championship team as a freshman. He graduated from Eastern Illinois with a bachelor's degree in physical education in 1973. Professional in 1975. Hyndman spent one season as a professional player with the Cincinnati Comets in the American Soccer League. Coaching career. In the fall of 1973, Hyndman entered Murray State University, graduating with a master's degree in 1975. In addition to taking classes, he also coached the men's soccer team. In 1976, he moved to Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he taught at Escola Graduada and served as a staff coach with the Sao Paulo Futebol Clube. In 1977, he returned to the U.S. to become the head coach at Eastern Illinois University, then competing in the NCAA Division Roman II. Over 7 seasons, he compiled a 98-24-11 record. In 1978, Hyndman took the Panthers to third in the NCAA postseason tournament. In 1979, he topped that as Eastern Illinois finished runner-up to Alabama A&M. In 1981, the team moved up to the NCAA Division I, taking third place in the 1981 Division I tournament. That led to his being selected as the 1981 NCAA Coach of the Year. He was inducted into the Eastern Illinois Athletic Hall of Fame in 2001. In 1984, Southern Methodist University hired Hyndman as head coach of the Mustangs soccer team. Over the next 24 seasons, he compiled a 368-96-38 record, earning 8 League Coach of the Year honors, 5 Regional Coach of the Year honors. On June 16, 2008, FC Dallas of Major League Soccer hired Hyndman as head coach after the sacking of Steve Morrow. In 2010, he coached Dallas to the MLS Cup final, losing to Colorado Rapids. Hyndman resigned following the 2013 season. On January 13, 2015, he was named head men's soccer coach at Grand Canyon University. In 2018, Grand Canyon became the 3rd school he led into the NCAA Division I Men's Soccer Championship. Administration. In 2001, Hyndman was selected to serve as a member of the NCAA Executive Committee. In January 2005, he became president of the NCAA, serving in that capacity for 1 year. Personal life. Hyndman is also an established Aiki Jiu-Jitsu coach and has been teaching the discipline for over 25 years in the Dallas area. Hyndman is a 10th-degree black belt with Juko Kai in tow. He is now married to Kami Hyndman and has 3 children. His grandson, Emerson Hyndman, currently plays for Atlanta United of Major League Soccer. Coaching career statistics as of May 18, 2012. 1. Includes league playoffs, Cup and CONCACAF Champions League. When you are ready, we move on to Top Chef Canada Season 1. Top Chef Canada Season 1. The first season of the Canadian reality competition show Top Chef Canada was broadcast on Food Network in Canada. It is a Canadian spin-off of Bravo's hit show Top Chef. In the first season, 16 chefs competed against each other in weekly challenges. The program took place in Toronto. In the season finale that premiered on July 4, 2011, Dale McKay was crowned Top Chef Canada. Contestants, 16 chefs competed in Season 1. Names, ages, hometowns, and cities of residence at time of filming are from the Food Network Canada website. In the order eliminated: Michael Stauffer, 30, Dundas on Clayton Beetle; 26, Whistler, BC, Rebecca Pierce; 29, Calgary, AB, Steve Gonzalez; 35, Toronto on Derek Bocking; 30, Montreal, QC, Jamie Hertz; 31, Nelson, BC, Chris Kenka; 34, Toronto on Patrick Weiss; 40, Toronto on Todd Perrin; 40, Quiddy Village, St. John's, NL, Daryl Crum; 29, Winnipeg, MB, Andrea Nicholson; 28, Toronto on Francois Gagnon; 32, Montreal, QC, Dustin Gallagher; 28, Toronto on Connie DeSouza; 29, Calgary, AB, Rob Rossi; 27, Toronto on Dale McKay; 30, Saskatoon, SK. Contestant progress. Winner: the chef won the season and was crowned top chef. Runner-up: the chef was a runner-up for the season. Third place: the chef placed third in the competition. Win: the chef won that episode's elimination challenge. High: the chef was selected as one of the top entries in the elimination challenge, but did not win. Low: the chef was selected as one of the bottom entries in the elimination challenge, but was not eliminated. Out: the chef lost that week's elimination challenge and was out of the competition. In: the chef neither won nor lost that week's elimination challenge. They also were not up to be eliminated. Episodes: each episode includes 2 challenges. The Quickfire Challenge is a short, simple challenge with a varying reward each week. In the initial episodes of the season, it usually guarantees the winner immunity from being sent home that week. However, in the latter stages, the Quickfire winner is given an advantage in the upcoming elimination challenge. It also has been made clear that Quickfire winners this season may receive other rewards, including cash prizes. The Elimination Challenge is a more complex challenge that determines who goes home. 1 or more judges join the show each week to evaluate both the Quickfire and Elimination challenges. Each week's elimination is announced in a segment called Judge's Table. Each week of Season 1 featured a guest judge or special guest, such as Dan Aykroyd, Suzer Lee, Daniel Boulud, Rob Feeney, and recurring judge on the American version, Gail Simmons. When you are ready, we move on to Eastern Stars F.C. Eastern Stars F.C. Eastern Stars FC was a semi-professional soccer club founded in July 2007, based in Milne Bay, Papua New Guinea. However, the side played most of its home matches at the Bicini Soccer Ground in Port Moresby. The club has competed a total of 6 times in the top division, and their best period came in the 2010-11 and 2011-12 Papua New Guinea National Soccer League seasons, finishing runners-up to Hekari United on both occasions. After their worst performance in 2014, the side took an extended break from the competition before returning for the 2019 season. A history. Foundation and early years. Eastern Stars FC were founded in July 2007, following concern from Milne Bay residents that the lack of clubs in the area had led to many local players joining Port Moresby-based teams. The club's name is derived from the star from the east, a symbol that features on the Milne Bay provincial flag. National Soccer League debut ahead of the 2008-09 season. It was revealed that Eastern Stars would be one of 3 new teams joining the National Soccer League. The side started well, despite their opening match being called off due to heavy rain. They won their opening match against fellow newcomers Sepik FC 4-3 before a draw with University in Tur, and another 3-2 win over Nabasa United saw them undefeated in their opening 3 games. Further postponements, plus a draw and a loss in their remaining 2 2008 fixtures, saw the side enter the new year in 4th place with 8 points, with 2 postponed fixtures still to be played. However, Stars lost both their games in hand, to Morobe FC behind them and Hekari United ahead of them, and the side weren't able to capitalize on their advantage, eventually finishing 5th, just a single point from playoff qualification. The side again registered to take part in the 2009-10 season, bringing in Solomon Islanders Timothy Joe and Paul Whale to boost their squad strength. The season saw similar results for Stars. They again finished in 5th position, and this time only a poor goal difference denied them a place in the semi-finals. The club struggled in the first half of the season, having a 6-game winless streak between November and January, but managed to win their last 5 games to soar up the table. They were edged into 5th place by University in Tur, who had a superior goal difference. 2 grand finals, the club confirmed their participation in the 2010-11 season in July 2010, with Chairman Joseph Iladona insisting that the club were competitive and would go one step further in the coming season. The side did just that, going into the Christmas break having lost just 1 game against Hekari, and even going top of the league for a short time in February, before eventually finishing 2nd in the league table behind the defending champions. After a 3-1 victory over Tukoko University in the knockout semi-finals, they fell 4-0 to Hekari in the grand final after having a man sent off. In October 2011, ahead of the 2011-12 season, the club appointed Luis Jaime Gomez as its new head coach. Gomez played professional football for Chilean Club Deportivo Universidad Católica in the 1960s and 1970s. Stars made a great start to the 2011-12 season, winning their opening match on 16 October 2011 against Petro South's FC 7-0 with 2 goals from Lab Mbel. The club won 3, drew 4 and lost 2 of the next 9 games, lying in 2nd place at the league's winter break in December. However, midway through the season, Gomez left the club, and franchise owner Joseph Iladona installed himself as team manager. Eastern Stars eventually finished as league runners, up to Hekari, and were beaten 5-0 by the same team in the league final on 17 April 2012 in front of a 5,000 strong crowd. Stars received K25,000 for their achievements. Decline and NSL withdrawal in December 2012. Stars' participation in the 2013 season was thrown into doubt when the NSL board reported that only 3 clubs had met payment deadlines for the new season. Stars were not among them, and only an additional 3 places were available in the league, despite 6 other clubs registering their interest. The club finally confirmed its inclusion in the league on 25 January 2013, just 1 week before the start of the season. Following a mass exodus of players at the end of the 2011-12 campaign, the club appointed former Papua New Guinea national team assistant manager Max Foster as its coach for the new season. Stars faced NC Oro in the league's opening fixture of 2013, and despite fielding an entirely new squad from 2012, Stars defeated their opponents 3-1, thanks to a Patrick Asa brace and a Danny Banaba goal. However, Stars' plight was downhill from then on, and they eventually finished 6th out of the 8 teams, the lowest finish since the club's inception. Their final season to date came in 2014, with the side one of 7 who had met the requirements for participation. While the side managed an opening day 1-1 draw with defending champions Hekari United on 8 February, the side had to wait until the end of March for a league victory, defeating Lee FC 2-1 on 22 March. This was to be their only victory all season, with the side finishing dead last with that single win and 4 draws. In July 2014, it was reported that the side had successfully bid to take part in the upcoming 2015 season. However, ahead of the season kickoff, the side were not one of the 7 sides scheduled to compete. Returned to NSL on 1 December 2017, it was reported that the side had once again shown interest in returning to the National Soccer League for the 2018 season. However, on 4 January 2018, franchise owner Joseph Iladona revealed the side would not be participating, and instead preparing for a return in time for the 2019 season. On 2 January 2019, it was confirmed that the club would be returning to the 2019 National Soccer League. The club was drawn into the Southern Conference and endured a slow start to the season, reaching the halfway stage in 6th place out of 8 teams, having won 3 out of 7 games. However, the second half of their season saw improvement, with victories against playoff rivals Port Moresby United and Central United putting them in contention on the final day. A late victory against FC Bougainville, thanks to an own goal, saw them secure qualification for the knockout phase. In the playoffs, they defeated Cebu Arab 2-0, before a 4-1 aggregate defeat to Hekari United saw them enter the 3rd-place match. Against Morobe United, they took a 2-1 lead, but eventually went down 3-2, finishing 4th for the season. The club were expected to take part in the 2019-20 National Soccer League, but they were not one of the final 10 teams announced in December 2019. When you are ready, we move on to Lordship of Gödens. Lordship of Gödens. The Lordship of Gödens was a lordship in the east of the East Frisian Peninsula, and it belonged to the county of East Frisia. It bordered the county of Oldenburg to the southeast, and the lordship of Jever to the northeast. The parishes of Alt Gödens and Dickhorsen belonged to the Lordship of Gödens. The ancestral seat of the Lordship of Gödens was Gödens Castle. The lordship existed until 1839, and was then added to the then newly formed Friedberg office. The Lordship of Gödens is known above all as a place of religious diversity. In the largest town of the Lordship, Newstead Gödens, 5 churches were built within just 50 years, despite only having around 800 inhabitants. In addition to the originally Reformed inhabitants, people of Lutheran, Catholic, Mennonite, and Jewish faith lived here. A history. The chieftains of Gödens. The Lordship of Gödens goes back to a chieftaincy. The first chieftain of Gödens was Ido Boing. He first appeared in connection with Gödens by name in 1451 and signed a document in 1454 as the Hoofdeling of Gödens. The ancestral seat of the first chieftains of Gödens was Alt-Gödens Castle. Ido Boings lived in constant hostility with the chieftains of Jever, although Gödens was still formally under the rule of Jever at that time. His daughter Almut Boing married Hicco of Oldersum in 1480, who became the second Lord of Gödens. In 1495, he defected from the rule of Jever to the county of East Frisia, and placed himself under the command of Count Edzard the Great of East Frisia. The Jever chief Ido Weemkin the Younger resisted this development, but was ultimately unable to reverse it. Economic development. The ancestral seat of the Gödens chiefs in Alt-Gödens was destroyed during the Saxon feud in 1514. Therefore, Hicco von Oldersum and his son Harro built a 2-winged moated castle on a new site by 1517. Harro von Oldersum became Lord of Oldersum and Gödens after the death of his father, and married Hebrich von in Undniforsen in 1527. She is considered the founder of the town of Newstead Gödens, which was created as a new town in 1544 through embankment measures and the construction of a sluice on the Schwarzer Brack. Hebrich also determined Calvinism as the dominant religion in the Lordship of Gödens as early as the 1530s. By 1550, other residents had settled at the Newstedter Seal. Many of them were specifically recruited Dutch skilled workers. A large sluice port was built and trade relations developed with Emden, Amsterdam, Bremen, Hamburg, and as far as the Baltic Sea. The imposition of customs duties on imported goods gave the Lord of Gödens a new source of income. Gödens under the Friedag dynasty during the next 2 generations, the Lordship of Gödens was passed on through clever marriages. In 1555, Harro von Oldersum's daughter Almut von Oldersum married the nobleman Johann von Oldenbokum from the county of Mark. This marriage produced a daughter, Almut von Oldenbokum, who in 1574 married Franz von Friedag von Loringhof from Westphalia. The economic boom increased under both lords. However, this ended after the construction of the Ellenser Dam, which was built between 1597 and 1615 by the Oldenburg Counts Johann Roman VII and Anton Gunther. This dam cut Newstead Gödens off from direct access to the sea. The ships had to reach the sluice harbor, which was now located inland, via the Newstedter Tief. Only through negotiations before the Reichskammergericht in Speyer were concessions wrested from the Oldenburg side that favored the further development of the town. Lord Harrow von Freydag managed to ensure that ships from Newstead Gödens could pass the Ellenser Dam duty-free after the dike was closed. After the construction of the Ellenser Dam, the residents turned primarily to trade and weaving. After the 30 Years' War, there was an increased settlement of Mennonite linen weavers from Holland, Leer, and Emden. Large bleaching meadows were created on the outskirts of the town for bleaching the woven fabrics. From 1660 onwards, the first Jews were also able to settle in the Lordship of Gödens. Both religious communities received letters of protection from the Lord of Gödens. This gave the Lordship of Gödens a new source of income, as the religious refugees had to buy the protection of the rulers. In 1669, a fire destroyed large parts of the castle in Gödens, but just 2 years later, the castle was rebuilt in the Dutch Renaissance style. The moated castle is still considered one of the most beautiful moated castles in northwest Germany. Increased status of the Lords of Gödens in 1692. A generation later, the three secular sons Harrow Burchard, Franz Heinrich, and Karl Philipp were raised to the hereditary rank of Count by Emperor Leopold I. The other three sons held clerical offices. Thanks to their mother Margaret Elizabeth, they all received a good Catholic education. They traveled to the most important countries in Europe and studied at good universities. The two eldest sons later made careers at the emperor's court. In 1694, Franz Heinrich von Freydag's son, Burchard Philipp von Freydag, inherited the lordship and took over the regency. He was in the service of the emperor in Vienna. As Minister of Finance and legal advisor, he was an influential man, constantly active at the emperor's court in Vienna, and very rarely seen in the lordship in this capacity. The administration of the lordship was the responsibility of his sister-in-law Charlotte Countess von Bielk, the sister of his wife Edel Augusta Countess von Bielk, whom he had married in 1708. With the help of successful rent collectors, the lordship was managed economically successfully, despite the absence of the sovereign. The Wedel-Jarlsberg family, after the death of the childless Prince Charles Edzard of East Frisia, the county of East Frisia fell to Prussia in 1744. The Prussians' repressive trade policy from then on led to the economic decline of the linen weaving industry in Newstead Gödens in particular. Count Burchard Philipp von Freydag died in 1746. Since he also remained childless, ownership of the lordship passed to his nephew Anton Franz Freiherr von Wedel, the son of his sister Maria Juliana, married to Baron Erhard Friedrich von Wedel-Jarlsberg zu Evenberg. In 1776, he was raised to the hereditary rank of Count by the Prussian King Frederick, the great ingratitude for the help he played in the seizure of East Frisia by the Prussians. A Count of Wedel still owns Gödens Castle today. Religion. In 1558, the Lords of Gödens banned the public practice of other religions by an edict. All residents were formally forced to adopt the Reformed faith. Baptisms, weddings, and funerals had to be held for a fee in the only Reformed church in Dickhausen. Members of other denominations could only hold their services privately at home or had to go to the neighboring churches in Sand, Horsten, or Zettel. In 1639, the Reformed Baron Franz Eiko von Friedeck married the wealthy Catholic Margarethe Elisabeth von Westerholt from Gelderland. This marked the beginning of a period of unusual religious tolerance in the Lordship of Gödens. Franz Eiko allowed his wife to practice her Catholic faith in Gödens Castle and gave his children the freedom to choose their religion. In 1692, the firstborn son, Harro Burchard von Friedeck, died, and his brother Franz Heinrich von Friedeck took over the rule. He appointed the Jesuit Father Petrus Flirk in Neustadt-Gödens, who set up the first Catholic mission in the otherwise Protestant north. In 1680, Franz Heinrich von Friedeck married the equally wealthy Sophia Elisabeth Countess of Oldenburg, a daughter of the Imperial Count Anton I of Oldenburg and granddaughter of Count Anton Gunther of Oldenburg. She was of the Lutheran faith and supported the inhabitants of the Lordship of Gödens who shared the same denomination. The Peace of Augsburg of 1555 stipulated that the respective rulers had the right to determine the religion of all inhabitants of their territory. In East Frisia, however, the right was not exercised directly by the counts and princes, but passed to the individual lords, who determined in their lordships which religion applied to the respective area. Despite this right, the lords of Gödens allowed the Lutherans, as the largest religious community in the Lordship of Gödens, to build their own church. This was inaugurated in 1695. In 1708, Count Burchard Philipp von Friedeck allowed the Jewish community of Neustadt-Gödens to bury their dead in their own cemetery on the road from Neustadt-Gödens to Gödens Castle. At the same time, they were given permission to build a synagogue in Neustadt-Gödens, which was first mentioned in 1752. The other denominations were also allowed to practice their religion more freely. The Reformed Church was the second religious community to receive permission to build its own church. Just 1 year later, the Catholic community was also allowed to build its own place of worship. The Catholic St. Joseph's Church was the first post-Reformation church of this denomination on the East Frisian Peninsula. In 1741, the fourth church building in Neustadt-Gödens was completed with the construction of the Mennonite Church. Now all four Christian denominations had their own church building. That is all for tonight. Let the silence settle in. Sleep well.